guys, it's Maymay and welcome to Product Parade. And today we're going to be looking at the Brutus Monroe Squeaky Clean Stamp Scrubbers. There are two of them that we carry in our store. There's this smaller one. This was the original and it's the white one and it's about, let me give you some measurements so you'll know. If you're like me and you have a tight work surface, you might want to make sure the size is going to fit. This is a 6.5 by 3.5 rectangle. Now the second one he came out with, by much demand, so many of you guys loved this one and mentioned you'd like a bigger one too, so then he created this one, and it has a little different feature as well. I'll show you in a second. This one is 7.5 by almost 5, but nope, right at 4 3/4. So this, you can see the difference in sizes. I'll lay them like this so you can see them. Now they both do the same thing, but they have a little different features. I'll show you those. And the thing I use is his Squeaky Clean Stamp Cleaner. A lot of you guys ask me how I clean my stamps, and this is it. I actually have two ways. I use this when I'm doing my cleaning, and when I'm stamping and I need to use a stamp over and over again, sometimes I'll just use a baby wipe in between, but it just depends on the application I'm doing. But this is what cleans, and I even clean my grid mat with it, and I want to show you that today too. All right, so let's get started. I need to open these. These are fresh new ones. I'll show you my not fresh new one. This is the one I use all the time now, and look, it's kind of gross. I'm going to tell you my my system for using it, but it looks bad, but it still cleans, so that's super cool. All right, let me open this guy up. Another favorite use for the pokey tool is to open packaging with it. All right, so when you get this home, this is what this guy looks like, okay? Looks like nothing on camera, but on this side, there is a little fuzzy mat, and it's glued in. I was going to see if I could, like, take it out to show you, but I'm not going to do that. But that one is glued in, and that's perfectly fine, because you can still clean this. I'll show you that, too, in a few minutes. But this side here is like fuzzy carpet. I don't know if carpet's the way to say it, but it's kind of a fuzzy little carpety area. And I will tell you, much like brand new carpet, this guy will shed for a little bit, not terribly long. You'll get use out of it and it'll all start to stop shedding, but for a little bit it will shed. Now this side has nothing on it. And when I use this guy in particular, a lot of times I'll remove the lid. It just kind of opens out of the little slot here. It's just got two little holes on the end. And a lot of times I'll take the lid off, especially if I'm working with like my Misty. Let me show you that. So this is my Misty tool and it's got a dirty stamp on it. So I'll show you how we're going to clean that real quick. So when I'm working with like my Misty and I take this guy off, it's super easy to use this like this on my stamps. Now I want to give you a stamp cleaning tip. And if you'd like a stamp cleaning video, I can do that one separate too. But when you clean your stamps like this, keep them on a block of some sort. Don't let the back of your stamps come in contact with cleansers or wet wipes or fuzz or lint. That makes them not sticky really fast. Now you can bring the sticky back and there's ways to get around it if you can't, but I always keep my stamps mounted to something when I clean them. All right, so using this guy, Squeaky Clean Cleaner. What I like to do is I spray some on 1/2, and you don't need much. So I'm just going to spray one time and then a half. Just like 1.5 sprays. You don't need much, okay? And I only spray it on this half of the little pad. This part is what I use for like cleaning off the Squeaky Clean. I'll show you what I mean. So for this stamp right here, I'm going to take this top half, and I'm just going to work it around on that stamp while it's on my block, on my Misty rather. Okay, and then you'll see there's the ink that's come off of it. There's what it looks like, okay? Then I'm going to flip this guy over and using the clean dry end, just going to hit it one more time like as the rinse cycle, if that makes sense. And so now this stamp is perfectly clean. So here's this stamp clean and ready to go. I want you to see, if you can, there is some fuzz left behind on my block. This is another reason I don't like to take my stamps off of a block when I clean them, because I don't want that fuzz to be on the back. And remember, that shedding will work itself out. I've had like 3 of these guys, and we use them in our classroom as well, and the shedding goes away. It's just a little bit that it has to do when you first get it because it's new. So that's the little guy, and that's how I use him. And when I'm done cleaning with him, I'll just put my little lid back on and store it away like that. But I find it really nice to be able to take that little lid off and clean this way. Now you'll just have to decide which one you want because they kind of do the same thing, but that's the small guy. Let's look at the big guy. I don't find it super easy to use when I'm using my Misty because it's larger. So the smaller one works better if I want to clean stamps while they're on the Misty. But this guy works good when you have some really large stamps to clean. So here's the big guy, and I want you to notice this one says with removable scrubbing pad. Where the first one is glued in, this pad is removable. It's very much like the original pad except for one thing. This one has a little sponge area underneath to make it softer so you can get a little pressure on it. And it has this little finger notch so you can put your finger in there and lift it out and take it to the sink and wash it. That's super cool, super convenient. You can get all the way through it. I'll show you, we're going to go to the sink and wash them in a few minutes, but I can tell you that you can do this even while it's still in here, but this makes it real convenient. So I'm going to put this back inside. It is not glued in because it's removable. Can you see the little fuzzies? They fly off when they're new. It will go away, so don't stress about that. All right, let's clean with this one. It's the same procedure. All right, I squirt some Squeaky Clean. 1, 2 on this one because it's a big mat, okay? This is a dirty stamp, see it? And I just go just like this. And this way you can see the dirt. Look at it coming off. The dirt, the ink. The thing I like about this is the bristles get down in between the grooves of the stamp and really get in there and clean it. And remember, keep your stamps on a block. Don't hold them in your hand and do this because that picks up everything around it on the back of your stamp and makes it not sticky anymore. So there's where I wash it. Here's where I rinse it. I just do like this. And there's not really rinsing, but I just do this to kind of get any little residue off. And now we have a clean stamp and this is ready to go back on its little sheet. Now, I also want to show you that I use the big one to clean my blocks with. This block is dirty. Can you see that? You see how dirty that is? I go and do the same thing with my blocks, just like this. And with these Fiskars blocks, I even sometimes will kind of hold them on the edge and get the little edge because I have been known to get ink everywhere. That's just how I am. Then I come right down here and do a little dry off. Scrub that again in the middle. And that cleans up my blocks pretty good. This one's starting to get a little stained, but he's clean now at least. He won't have any ink getting off on anything. And I do that with all of them, even the little guys. Just bring them in. And you notice you don't need very much Squeaky Clean, but you do need the Squeaky Clean. I think it's worth it. Now, this one's pretty stained. It's got a little spot that you might not can see it. There's a little stain there. If that's the case, take some Squeaky Clean straight to it, just a little bit, like so. That's a tiny squirt. I'm just going to work it around with my finger for a little bit and then come back over here and see if I got that spot off. Yes, now it is crystal clear. See that? The Squeaky Clean works for everything. Let's see if I have another one. Yeah, this one, I noticed this one yesterday. See that little spot right there? And I tried to wipe it off with my hand. That's pretty stuck on there. So what I'm going to do is spray a little Squeaky Clean on it. Just a little. I'm trying not to get much at all. Ooh, okay. And then I'm going to work this around and look, oh, it just comes right off. It's even coming off of the orange. You don't have to do this with your finger. I'm just doing it for video purposes. I didn't have a washcloth close by, but I want to show you how this works. I don't know if you should do it with your finger. Probably not. Christopher would probably say use a cloth, but you know how we are in our craft room. So do as I say do, not as I do. Okay, so I've got a little bit left on that handle. Scrub that. Bring it over here to the clean part. Look at that. So now that whole gunkiness is gone. Super cool. I really love my Squeaky Clean. And I love these little mats. And I tell you what, let's go and wash. I'll go show you how to wash them. I don't know that it's going to make that much of a difference because there's very little on here. But I'll show you how to wash them so you'll know when you get them home. So when you get ready to wash them, if they've been sitting for a little bit and they're not still wet with Squeaky Clean, something I do is I spray some Squeaky Clean in because I want to go ahead and start that loosening up in there. Okay, so before I take them to the sink, if they've been sitting, today I wouldn't really need to because I had just sprayed the Squeaky Clean on them to show you guys. But if I had let them sit, I would wet them again before I went to the sink. So I got both of these guys at the sink. We're going to do one at a time. And when I clean this guy in particular, I take the lid off because I don't need it and it just kind of gets in the way. Put it aside and we're going to work here. Now I did spray a little Squeaky Clean earlier as I came in here, but I also use a little bit of soap. This is dish soap, but you can use hand soap as well. And you don't need much, although I got too much right there naturally. I'm going to turn the water on and I'm just going to scrub it with my fingers. And I'll probably have to stop talking so you can hear me over the water, but I'm just going to do like this and you'll see what happens. That water's not too loud. So this one's only been used once. Okay, so it looks like it cleaned up perfectly the first time. You can just squeeze the water out like this. It's probably going to stain. Mine always do, and there's a little bit of blue in there. You can see that stain. But if you run your paper towel over it, that ink won't come off and you'll know that it's clean. Okay, so you can see the stain. I'm going to run it with my paper towel to get some of the liquid out, and you'll see that there's no blue on our paper towel. So it's clean, it's just stained, and that's okay. Now for the second one, remember, this guy comes out, so we don't even have to worry about the container. We're just going to clean it here. I'm going to do the same thing. Little soap, not as much as last time, if I can keep from it. Did about the same. And then water. Oh, look at that. That's really cleaning up. Don't forget, I did spray a little squeaky clean on it, so it's soap and squeaky clean. But look at that. I like this one because it comes out and it makes it easy to really get in there and clean it. So I just squeezed it out, and the same thing. You're just going to hit it with a paper towel, get some of that liquid out, and you'll see the ink is gone. Let me get a clean paper towel so you can see it. The ink is gone, but the stain is still there. So don't worry about the stain. It still works just the same. And now you have fresh squeaky clean cleaners. But let this air dry till it's completely dry before you put it back in here, because you don't want it to kind of get sour or moldy in there. So make sure it completely air dries before you put it back. Also, as promised, I'm going to show you cleaning my mat. Now, my mat probably looks pretty clean on camera, and you really don't see anything here when I rub over it. But watch what happens when I clean it with some squeaky clean. 2 squirts. Probably a little more than I need, but it's a habit. Don't squirt, squeaky clean. You don't need to do that. You need very little of it. I'm going to take a wet wipe because it's what I have handy, but you could do this with a paper towel as well. And I am going to clean. Something I really like about the squeaky clean is it tends to have like a conditioning effect. It doesn't say that, it doesn't claim it, but when you use it, you can kind of see it on your mat. You can kind of notice just kind of a conditioning left behind, and I really like it. Look at that. Isn't that yucky? No, you don't think it's on there because you rub it or you wipe it off and you don't see it, but when you put that cleanser on there, it really gets junky off of your mat. Now I'm just going to let that dry. So while this dries, I'll tell you, funnily enough, is funnily a word? I don't know. But yesterday, I cleaned this with a wet wipe before I did a video, and I thought I had it pretty clean, so I wasn't expecting to see much come off of it. But then when I sprayed the squeaky clean on it and cleaned it just then for you, there was a good bit of dirt that was still left behind. So just so you know. Okay, so we just came back from the sink with these guys. They are clean now, and you can see there is a little stain, but it will clean just fine from here on out. Both of them are the same. And that's how I use my squeaky clean scrubbers, and I love them. And if you get one that's brand new and the shedding kind of bothers you, you can wash it first, and that'll get some of the shedding out. But again, it goes away over time, and it's not. And then when I say time, like 2 or 3 uses, you'll stop noticing it. So there you go, squeaky clean scrubbers. And don't forget your squeaky clean. You're going to need it too. You're going to love it for everything, including we even had you know the refill stamps that you put the little ink bottle you refill. It's what we use on our packages that say do not bend and fragile, things like that. Some of that ink dripped onto our tile floor, and we all panicked, and we went and got our squeaky clean, sprayed it, wiped it up. It came up perfectly. Now, it doesn't recommend that, and he's not telling you to use it in different places, but I've talked to a lot of people who have found lots of uses for it. So if you're like me and you're brave and you're willing to do it, there you go. So I hope you enjoyed this little video today showing you how to use these guys. All these products are available in my store at maymaymadeit.com. There'll be links to them below. And I hope you have a great day. Talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.